let's talk about Hunter. Lots been made on this online, so let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. 4chan, graduating in its news importance every day, it seems, says that they have been appeared to have cracked the iCloud of Hunter Biden. So here's the details. A user on 4chan who was immediately banned but did post screenshots of the website's political forum. This was all happening on Saturday night, which they claim to have been leaks from the Hunter Biden laptop, and not just this laptop, specifically his iPhone, which has led to the release of numerous amounts of videos and others. This is basically combining with a lot of Hunter's personal details, text messages, and others with his father that's coming out.
Yeah.
Now, what they show here and what they claim is that a former Secret Service agent who turned cyber forensic expert had apparently located the password to the iPhone backup, and that was during the examination of the hard drive itself, which obviously has been out there for a while. And they say that the examination of the data says that the password-protected iPhone backup is likely authentic. And given some of the stuff which has come out, it does appear to be that way. Now, in terms of the specifics, look, I think we've been wrestling with this. It's difficult. Yes, he's the president's son. So to the extent anything is newsworthy, it's when it involves the president. People are pointing to the way that he talks about his father and the way that he labels it. Anyway, I'm not going to get too much into it, but I have found it disturbing, really, and just the passing around of a lot of his personal videos. Yeah. Because look, Hunter is a crack addict, and I think that's obvious. And he behaves like a crack addict. And watching some of these videos is deeply, deeply disturbing. The takeaway to me is that when it involves Biden, it is newsworthy. But posting videos of him cavorting with Russian prostitutes is both deeply disturbing and not particularly relevant. To the extent that it's relevant, it's how did he get away with this in the first place? So let's throw this up there from Glenn. I thought he made an excellent point, which is, this is from the Secret Service. They say that they're aware of the iCloud backup. They're not in a position to make public comments on potential investigative claims. Throw the next one up there from Glenn Greenwald, because I think that this was important, which is that what he says is that, apparently we didn't cut that. What Glenn says is that to the extent that any of this is relevant, it is when the Hunter Biden laptop story revealed corruption involving Hunter's business dealings with foreign governments, and what did Joe Biden know about it and when. That's it. To the extent that it's about drugs and his sex life and all that, it should not be relevant to the broader public conversation. And if it is, we should only talk about it in the way that I think you've always pointed to. Hunter got away with this because his dad was a former vice president, and he avoided jail time and was able to fund all of this because he was grifting off of the president's name, the current president, then the vice president, and using his business connections and others in order to fund this lifestyle and avoid jail time, which no person who has a similar addiction would have been able to do. And I think that that is a way that we should be able to talk about it with all this, because it's very uncomfortable and to look at this. And at the end of the day, he is a semi-private citizen.
Ultimately, profoundly sad.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly, that's the biggest takeaway for me looking at these materials, is just how incredibly sad the whole situation is. And yeah, I would like for everyone who is struggling with addiction to receive the same support and care and second chances as Hunter Biden. Right. That's what I would like to see. And so any Republicans who are out there sharing this stuff around thinking that this is going to be a really effective political hit, I just don't think so, because ultimately I think most people have the reaction that I had, which is you just actually feel bad for this man who is clearly in the throes of numerous addictions and is just really, really in a bad place. So I 100% agree. When it comes to business deals, corrupt, shady dealings, anything certainly that intersects with Biden that could impact, what his foreign policy is, any of that stuff, 100% fair game. Yep. Should not be off the table at all. Reporters shouldn't be afraid of digging into that stuff. They shouldn't be afraid of reporting on it. Certainly social media companies shouldn't be censoring it, which is what we saw in the run-up to the 2020 election. The personal shit, leave it alone.
Yeah, especially the videos.
Completely irrelevant.
The videos have nothing to do with Biden. And look, people could circulate whatever they want. I don't believe in censorship. So if you want to circulate, if you want to share it, fine. Yesterday was trending at 400,000 tweets. Okay, whatever. to the extent that we should discuss it, I think it should not be off the table to say, okay, well, what was Biden doing? Was he helping fund this stuff? If so, where was he getting the money? Was he aware that his money was being used by Hunter in order to go about this? But more importantly is, how was Hunter funding this on his side in the first place? Was he using his father's connections and others? If there is evidence to that effect, as there was during the Hunter Biden laptop story and Tony Bubalinsky and all that, and the dealings with Ukraine and Burisma and those payments, there still has yet to be any real answer around Burisma. Still, whenever it comes to the Chinese Communist Party linked private equity fund, which Hunter retains a 10% stake in, and the various investments that were made on his behalf, the hundreds of millions, the hundreds of thousands of dollars that he collected in consulting fees. It's also very clear, bigger than the fact that he's currently under FBI investigation, that he was undoubtedly, almost certainly working as an unregistered foreign agent and taking all this foreign cash, is specifically also and in order to behave in the manner that he was behaving. So that's the way that we should go down about this, and how we should handle this. I also think this is a commentary also on the mainstream media, because there's no mainstream media stories about this at all. But to the extent that they are, they're like, it's been hacked. People are aware of it. And it's like, look, I agree, it can seem uncomfortable and weird in order to discuss somebody who's in the midst of crack addiction and all of this, but also there's a trove of information which comb through it and find what is legitimate and what is not.
Yeah, so far though, there hasn't, out of this trove, there has not been anything that has been worthwhile. So I mean,
that's a story in itself, I think.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I don't see that there's been anything worth them reporting on out of this, except that this exists and the Secret Service, you know, is sort of acknowledging that this is a situation that is unfolding. But absent some other specifics that are relevant to corruption, business dealings, all of those things, there's not really anything to report that I think is actually in the public interest here.
Yeah, I think that's fair. So let me just put it in that way, which is that they should at least, they're either ignoring it completely, which I think is fine. However, I think that given the level of public interest, they should then come out and just say what we said. But look, from what we can see so far, having looked through it, there doesn't seem to be anything that lies to the general interest. Secret Service is aware of it. That's all I've really been able to tell, outside of fringe kind of conservative websites which have been running with this stuff. And then obviously it's just all over social media. I think it bears some level of acknowledgement from the press and from others. And the White House posture is also ridiculous. They're like, their current posture on the laptop, not even on the iCloud, is we're not going to comment ever on what's in the laptop. It's like, okay, well, we know that the laptop has emails and others that do concern the current president of the United States. How can you possibly have that posture towards obviously relevant information? And look, you're going to be hearing about this whether you like it or not, because if the GOP does take control of the Senate or of the House, there's obviously going to be hearings that are going to be looking into this. So you better get ready, whether you like it or not, and be aware that this is out there and that this is information. So I think that's it.
Yeah, indeed. Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.